about what 2050 looks like, and because this was Emma's baby and she was so excited to be here, I am just going to read directly from her notes to help introduce us. Firstly, she wanted to acknowledge that things are pretty tough in our space at the moment. We have an interesting government environment with a very different view on social and environment outcomes. There's also some tough council situations out there, and I guess from me, particular Aotearoa to Northland, and you've got some interesting kaipura-ness going on up there, so love to you for that. When the going gets tough, it seems like the best time to reimagine what 2050 could look like if we get it right is now. Emma believes the first step to us supporting our communities to lead the change is to imagine what it could look like in 2050 if we get it right. We all need positive inspiration. Our imaginations are full of it, removing us from the challenges of today and giving us some time or something to aim for. So tonight, we have some amazing wahine leaders talking about what they imagine the future will look like. We've got some discussion about resilient communities, circular wellbeing, degrowth economy, and an exciting surprise one from Sterling. We will have a little bit of time for questions, and also we will be getting some input from you. So have a think about what you'd like to see, as I said before. So we've got the butcher paper that we will do after the panel. So I'm going to let Jo start us off, and we're each going to do probably about like 5 to 10 minutes. If it's a little bit longer, it's because they're just so passionate. So just hang in there and have a think about those questions, etc.
Kia ora koutou. A little bit about me. My ancestors come from England, Isle of Man, Scotland, Denmark and Finland.
Are we on?
I'm not sure.
We have
these things.
Are these things on?
We have these things. I haven't been able to have a nervous week because I have the thing on.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm
With the
going to
thing.
use that, and hopefully the thing is being picked up. We are filming this for future.
Okay.
Just for shits and giggles, we'll use this. So, like Georgina, I come from a dairy farming background. My father's family came here in the 1950s. My mother's family came in here in the 1860s. My children whakapapa Māori to Ngāti Whātua ki Kaipara to Aotearoa. My name's Jo, and I currently live in a small town called Morena Whira, otherwise known as Morrisville, the land with the giant cow. So I want to talk a little bit tonight around, what a resilient community looks like in 2050. And I've thought about this a lot, and some of you know I like to judge things harshly. So I have given it deep thought, and Emma was really specific in me putting forward a positive picture around what 2050 would look like. So I've done my own internal critique and come up with this. At GoEco, we've done a lot of work around what a thriving community will look like in 2050 and in a climate resilient future. And what that means for us, our families, and the way that we work, as well as what it means for communities. And we've done many workshops, like many of you will have, where we've got people to draw pictures about what they thought it looked like and to describe it. Usually people forget public transport or roads. There's always chickens and gardens and some trees, occasionally a river. So I've taken a different view, because one of the things that strikes me around all of those is that it's the basic, we have a picture of how we want to live, but we don't have much picture around the basic foundation of what we need to live. So I want to talk to you about the value of structure. The value of structure, and that is the conventions that promote basic democracy, the ideals of fair representation, openness and transparency. In 2050, we'll have a stronger understanding of what those things are, because by then we would have started educating not only how to plant trees and grow vegetables, but what true democracy is and the civics education that our whānau need in order to make informed decisions. The value of conciliation. That is the need to have an underlying jurisdictional base. Not prisons, not police, not anything like that, but an underlying understanding of a jurisdictional base. That way we know what we will and won't accept in our communities. But it comes from a different place. That we will understand the value of balance. That is the need that we have a constitution at that time that ensures the respect for the authority of rangatiratanga and kāwanatanga spheres of influence. That we have made our way through this relationship that we have with our own whānau, with our own communities, and we understand what kawanatanga is. We understand what tino rangatiratanga is, and we understand who has the agency to make decisions. That we understand that the current system of government, the colonialism and the capitalism that drives the day-to-day decision-making, isn't the path that we want for the future. We've done the work, we've come out the other side, and we have those better relationships and foundations. That we have a value of place. That we understand relationships and we ensure the protection of the environment. We have a value of belonging, that is everybody who lives in our communities, our own whānau, ourselves, the people that we work with, have a sense of belonging, that we know a community, that we're connected in a community, that even if we live in a town or a city, we don't actually have to drive to the other side of it to find the thing that we need. It is in our community. We know the people that provide that in our community, and we're engaged with those people every day. That we live and work close to where all of that happens. That we're not crisscrossing the region in order to earn the money that we need to pick up some bread. That we understand the value of community, representation, good relationships, and that those exist between all peoples. That we understand our place as Aotearoa, that we're a cluster of islands that are part of Te Moana Nui a Kiwa. That we're not the king's children, we are actually the siblings and whānau within a big set of Pacific nation states. And that first and foremost, and absolutely most importantly, that we understand the value of tikanga or law. That we've had those discussions and we've transformed ourselves into a place to having a mutually shared place, connection, jurisdictional basis. We understand what the law is, we understand what it means to us, and we understand how we participate in making those laws. Because without constitutional transformation, we're just replicating the path we're on at the moment. So I think it's a good vision. I think the vision addresses some of the biggest problems that we have at the moment, which is a government system that doesn't meet our needs, that doesn't fully recognise and honour te tiriti o waitangi or he whakapuatanga, and that actually this is the stuff that we're changing at the moment and that we have the power to change in order to lead us into a better place. So we have truly resilient and connected communities in the future that are safe, healthy environment, thriving community. Have we done with 10 minutes?
Are there any burning questions out there before I pass on to Carla? Okay, let's keep rolling on because it's pretty awesome. Let's get the inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you, team. And thank you, Jo. Some beautiful ideas and concepts and thoughts that are going to segue beautifully into what I'm going to talk about. So I am going to do a very quick presentation on a wellbeing economy. And I'm imagining what that is going to look like in 25 years from now. So there's some things that have changed. The boomer generation has all but died out. They're literally gone. No, that's not right. Not thank God. Okay, Gen X have all retired from paid employment. Even the youngest are to the end of their working lives. The youngest millennials are now 54 years old. Now that's scary. They are scary. Gen Z is now in the driving seat. Gen Alpha is moving into a new kind of workforce. And Gen Beta is just turning 25. And what I'm really trying to demonstrate here, guys, is the fact that when we look at that 25-year bracket and we think about the things that have really shaped the generations that have gone before us, it's so important to understand how that is going to change over the next 25 years. And particularly for some of us in this room, understanding the fact that at Gen Z, we have got a whole generation that had grown up with technology from day dot. They know it inside out and back to front. They're so familiar with it, and it informs everything they do. They go there first for everything. Gen Z is going to massively define how we move forward with AI and what actually happens with AI. So all of these different generations and the values and the behaviours and the characteristics that they bring and how that will actually change where we are in 50 years from now. Okay, so hot off the back of those amazing wahine tour that just spoke to us from Council, women in leadership. So, okay, I just want to be clear here, this is me imagining, okay, I'm imagining all this stuff. So women have continued to be elected into high political offices. By 2050, their innovative and effective leadership has seen an increase to 75% of UN member states run by women leaders. And they have collectively focused on things that make a substantial difference in their countries. Fighting corruption, equality, environmental and climate action, and peace. So, what do we need to be thinking about in terms of the systems that currently don't serve us? I'm 100% positive that I'm in a room of absolutely converted that the current economic system does not serve us. It does not serve us. And so what I want to talk to today is a wellbeing economy spreading across the globe. And a wellbeing economy is an economy that is designed to serve people and planet, not the other way around. So rather than treating the economic growth as an end in and of itself and pursuing it at all cost, which is what we've done and continue to do, a wellbeing economy puts humans and the planet at the centre of its activities, ensuring these needs are equally met by default. And it is an incredibly powerful statement to imagine a world that is operating like this, where the rich don't just continue to get richer, where the big corporations don't just continue to get more powerful and influential over every political system that's actually running in the world, and that we put people and planet at the centre of our decisions. The world we envisage. So I wanted to just be clear that what I'm talking about here in terms of a wellbeing economy, many of you will have heard the wellbeing budget, obviously, that Labour actually designed and put out. And at the time they did that, Aotearoa were one of only 3 governmental governments involved in a wellbeing budget or a wellbeing economy. They were starting to go down the road of what would this look like? How would we reimagine how this would actually work for us? But this is just one of the possible economic options or systems that we could adopt. And I'm going to go to the room now, and I'm really keen to hear from anybody who can tell me what are the other kinds of economic systems that we could try, that you guys are aware of.
Seizing the means of production.
Seizing the means of production, absolutely. Degrowth, absolutely. There's one you guys will all know. Circular, absolutely. Donor economy. All of these is the not-for-profit. All of these are different economic systems that we can look to adopt and use within our cities and within our countries. And one thing I want to say, guys, is whilst I'm highlighting this particular one, I am an absolute firm believer that it is one of those scenarios where we try everything. So everybody, different cities, different countries are trying different systems to see what actually works best. But this is one that I wanted to particularly focus on for this presentation. So a good economy is when the rules and incentives are designed to ensure everyone has enough to live in comfort, safety and happiness. 3 key things on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When we thrive in a restored, safe and vibrant environment because we have learned to give back as much as we were given, then we have a voice over our collective destiny and find belonging and meaning and purpose through genuine connections to people and a planet that sustains us. Many of the things that I've just spoken of there exactly mirror what Joe was just saying before me. So, very, very strong things coming out. I'm just going to interject right here with a little bit of a story. I was doing this presentation in my son's room, which is where my office is set up. He's 15 years old. He walks in and he says to me, "What are you doing, Mum?" I said, "I'm imagining what the world's going to be like in 2050. He goes, "You'll be dead." I said, "No, you're not." And he said, "Well, what are you imagining?" And I said, "Well, I'm just imagining what it could be like." And he goes, "That's probably really hard, because, jeepers, it's not great. It's not good at the moment." And I said, "No, it's not." And he walked out, went downstairs, cooked himself some eggs, came back up and he said to me, "You need to imagine what the prisons will be like in 2050. And I was like, okay, interesting. And clearly come off the back of hearing the news about the increase in prison beds. He said to me, "You need to think about what the prisons will look like in 2050. And I said, "Do I?" He said, I've thought about it. Okay? He said, "I think for people that don't commit violent crime, they should just actually be locked up in a room in their own house. And they can't come out, but they have to stay in there for like 18 hours a day, and they can't come out. Because they still have to do their time, there still has to be there still has to be a consequence. And they just stay in their room." And I'm like, okay. He goes, "It costs less." Yeah, it would cost us less. I said, "Well, what are we going to do when they just walk out the door?" And he goes, "Well, here's the thing. We would have nanofibers right across the doorway. And if they walked through, they'd get cut to shreds." I'm like, okay, that's not going to, I don't think that's going to go. Even at 2050, I don't think that's going to go. So interesting how our young folks are thinking about it. These are the 4 key principles of a wellbeing economy, and I just want to say fairness, so justice in all dimensions must be at the heart of economic systems. And these are the 4 key principles when you're looking at this practice. So pre-distribution, purpose, prevention, and people power. Our homes and our communities, places of work and towns have all changed. That says, that word behind there that you can't see. So, in 2050, our cities and towns have all downscaled. Our neighbourhoods are more compact, with housing that is built 4 to 5 stories high. We're going up. Intergenerational living is encouraged. Social housing is contained within each unit. They share solar, wind or hydro energy, and batteries are incorporated in all neighbourhoods. Ring roads are built that connect highways, but minimal roading is built within our neighbourhoods. We use bikes, scooters, hoverboards, and walking to move around. All neighbourhoods have bike and scooter libraries, and communal gardens and fruit forests are growing where the roads were. Produce is shared and exchanged with other neighbourhoods. Everyone now works a 4-day week. This allows for our communities to tend their libraries, their gardens, their distributed power locations. The fast fashion sector has collapsed worldwide. Where is... We literally had this conversation in the car on the way here. The fast fashion sector has collapsed worldwide, and clothing swaps now happen in every neighbourhood every week. Many places of work are now collaborations of staff who have full ownership of the business, with all dividends reinvested into the business or the community. That is me. Woo! That is me imagining 2050.
Okay, we're just going to keep rolling on. Sometimes you just find yourself in the right place, and Sterling just walked into the right place before. And I'm really happy that she's here actually. I think this is a pretty awesome panel. So give it up for Sterling.
Alright, kia ora, tēnā koutou katoa, ko Sterling tōku ingoa, he uri ahau no te tai rāwhiti, ko maunga kāka te maunga, ko orotua te awa, ko mātahi o te tau te marae, ko waio. Hi. Kia ora everybody. So my name is Sterling. I was 5 minutes ago asked to be up in this panel, and I'm really so happy to be here. I was like getting a little bit nervous as I was getting closer and closer to my time speaking, but basically the question of what does 2050 look like, that's the kind of kaupapa of this conversation today. And when I heard that Emma was going to be talking about social justice, environmental justice, I went, that's all I need to know, and I've got something to say about that, so kia ora. And yeah, I suppose social justice, environmental justice, whatever you want to define it and call it, it is the justice for all people on our planet. It's the justice for all of the environment and all of our natural spaces, including our flora, our native fauna, all across the world. A place where all things can live in safety and security and know that there is longevity and a future there for everybody. So that's how I would classify social justice, environmental justice. And one of the links that people don't often talk about is how environmental justice is social justice. They're the same side of the same coin. So in a place where I look around and there's so many amazing people working in the environment to try and find and build better ways of engaging with people and in the future, we can't forget that the people that we're bringing along with us are just as much as part of the story as all of these beautiful economic plans that everyone's got going on, all of our environmental restoration plans that each one of us is actually deeply involved with. We also need to be thinking about the people as well. So when I think about 2050, I think that it looks very indigenous.
Nice.
It looks very indigenised. It looks like we are bringing sovereignty back to our indigenous spaces as well, so that we are equal people, we sit at the table, we are actively planning our own futures. We're not talked about in past tense. I know that that's been a bit of an awkward thing. You know, Māori used to blah, 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 blah. Māori used to do that, and it's like, well, Māori are still doing that, so kia ora. When I think about our Indigenous whānau overseas as well, I'm immediately thinking of our people in Gaza. So when I look at them, I see my own whānau. They are your whānau as well, because we are all family, we are all related. If you can't look at the people in Gaza and see yourself and see your family, there is something wrong. So first and foremost, free Palestine. Kia ora.
All eyes on Rafa.
All eyes on Rafa. The atrocities that they are going through currently, it pretty much parallels the stuff that happened in our own colonial history here in Aotearoa. Whether people know it, people understand it or not, it happened here as well. And so when I see things happening in other parts of the world that mimic our history, it's heartbreaking. In a place where everybody is trying to talk about environmental advocacy, this is an amazing space that we can be really uplifting those voices and just being a little bit more politically aware of the suffering that other people are going through as well. We all have a big role to play in that. We're so lucky that we have big voices. All of us have big platforms, all of us have loud voices that we can use as well. I don't know if you guys know this about me, I'm a Libra, so I have a really strong sense of justice.
And balance.
And that's questionable. But I think if you guys look deep inside yourself, when you feel that like deep feeling in your stomach and it's hot and it's making you angry, that's your social justice voice talking to you as well. So we need to be very, very aware of the things that are happening to other people. We need to lend our hand. We need to listen first, talk second. We need to amplify other people's voices so that we can just help them be good allies and we can be good people to them too. Yeah. That's all I need to say. Kia ora.
Well done, darling. Well done.
The end.
I was right, eh? Awesome.
So good.
So, I've thought about this a lot. So my job is networking, and when I first came on EHA, and my job was how to get people networked, I remember when I heard a manager would call another manager, I would do a little happy dance, and like, we called each other. Amazing. What I'm going to get to is that I don't exist anymore, that my role doesn't exist, and Environment Hubs doesn't need to exist. And we've talked about that a little bit at the board today. We were like, what if we had a new mission statement that would do ourselves out of a job, that everything is so amazing, you don't need an Environment Hubs anymore because it's just happening. So actually that's one of my visions for 2050. How wonderful if the world is so amazing we don't need Environment Hubs anymore because the entire planet is one big Environment Hub. So I thought that was a pretty cool vision. I'm going to add a couple of things because I can. I've got the talking stick. I really hope that we are tuakana and taina, that we have that relationship with our Pacific neighbours and we have these amazing global connections because obviously we can't do it alone. We have to work with other countries. We have to think about what has worked overseas and we have to share what we're doing as well. Greed and money are not the drivers of our world in 2050.
No.
We no longer celebrate the rich lists anymore.
No.
Policies have been put in place
The
to
Met
ensure
Gala.
that money can still be made, but not at the expense of people or the environment. We've had civics education for so long that we don't even have to ask for it anymore. It's just a thing, and everybody gets involved in democracy. That we don't talk about how many percent turned up to vote. We just have so many great people that it's hard to choose from them because all the politicians look like the ones that we just had before. That's going to be pretty amazing. So, main message, we don't exist. The world is just so amazing. And that, all of these, there's a beautiful picture there of some Carla Gee. They're the ones who are the environment hubs, they're making it happen. And we don't have to support it anymore, it's just happening naturally.